Hello, Case for interwebkaiju here. This is the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, and more specifically, today I'm going to be talking about Rebirth of Mothra 3. Ignoring the fact that I haven't reviewed the first two, Rebirth of Mothra 3 sees Mothra having to save children who have been magically captured and trapped in a giant egg by King Ghidorah, who plans to eat them all and cause the extinction of the human race. I just love that plot, and if you're wondering, I don't really think you need to watch the first two Rebirth of Mothra movies to enjoy this one. There is character development built on those movies, but I think the opening scenes could convey the nature of the three sisters well enough. Also, I am going to be saying Ghidorah instead of Ghidorah or Ghidorah, just because that is how I heard it first, and that's what stuck with me, so my apologies on that. The ground floating upward once the meteor lands is a good aesthetic. It could have looked better, but I do really like the idea. At one point, in the English dub at least, it's stated that Ghidorah killed off the dinosaurs, and that's the type of silly over-the-top backstory that I like. If you haven't seen any of the Rebirth of Mothra films, the Shobijin here are the Elias sisters, and they ride a tiny Mothra. It's very cute in concept and execution, but what I really want to point out is that when Ghidorah is beating up Mothra, the little Mothra goes and shoots him in the eye. I just love it. There's other little things that I like in the movie. The past version of King Ghidorah shooting fireballs instead of gravity beams was cool, even if a bit confusing. The music is fine for the most part, as are the sound effects, but they really nail it when the kids are being teleported. There's plenty of wonky visual effects happening, but the sound effects definitely keep the overall mood terrifying. This isn't really specific to this film, but I prefer the Shobijin from the other movies over the Elias sisters in the Rebirth series. The Elias sisters aren't particularly bad, but the others are much better, especially the Peanuts. I get the desire to give them individual personalities, and that's fine, just stating my preference. There's one point where two of the fairies are in a sword fight, and you can tell that there was choreography and storyboarding done. That could have made for a good scene, but the wire work and the actual fighting are sloppy, very sloppy. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the actors just did it themselves because the studio wouldn't hire a stunt crew. The CG can be pretty bad. The egg effect is particularly annoying both inside and out, and it really is distracting in some of the city destruction scenes. Some parts are just really bad. I get that this was a kid-oriented movie released in '98, but still, this is from one of the studios that I often praise over their special effects throughout the years. At least the laser effects still look great. But it does get worse. Look at these dinosaurs. This looks like a child's fan film. I like the idea of dinosaurs being in a Mothra movie. I really do. Maybe that's why these scenes didn't get cut out, but how could anyone consider this good enough for cinemas? Talking about Ghidorah, not a fan of the faces in any of the incarnations here. This isn't a great movie, but I still love the story, and the movie serviceably gets us through that. In my opinion, a bad movie with a memorable story is better than a well-made movie with a forgettable one. And that thought also goes for the human characters, because the main characters here are the monsters and the fairies, and the normal humans are pretty awful. Thankfully, only one really matters. He's also pretty bad, but gets the story to where it needs to be without putting the viewers through too much pain. I'd recommend this movie, but don't expect too much. Thanks for watching.